Hello and welcome into another playoff series preview. This is the fourth one I'm doing. This is the Canes versus the Islanders. If you want to check out the other three that are already up on the channel, I got the Bruins and Leafs out. I got the Winnipeg Jets and the Avalanche out. And I also have the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning out. As you can see here, I included with a start time of the series, which is 5 p.m. on Saturday. It should be the first game of the playoffs, and boy, did they pick a snoozer to put on, in my opinion. I watched every game of this series last year, and they don't play the most attractive hockey, but they definitely do be playing hockey, to say the least. As you can see on the left here, the DraftKings odds, plus 650 for the Hurricanes, which is the best in the league to win the Stanley Cup. You then have the Islanders on the opposite side of the spectrum with the second worst odds. Only team that has worse odds is the Capitals. Capitals are actually absurdly worse. I actually didn't notice that. I've used this in all the videos. They're triply underdog. They're triple the underdogs that the Islanders are. That's kind of absurd. Regardless, the Washington Capitals are not that great, but regardless, I mean, that's just absurd for odds. Moving on. Well, then, one thing I mentioned when I first started talking was last year. So last year, you see the series in this bottom box here. The Islanders lost in 6 games to the Hurricanes. And basically, it's pretty hard to see that this series doesn't play out kind of like it did last year, with the Islanders pushing these games to being close, but not winning the majority of these close games. Carolina is a battle-tested team that knows how to win tight games. The Islanders know how to win tight games as well. It's just Carolina's a bit better at playing the Islanders game than the Islanders. A lot more offensive talent on the Hurricanes than the Islanders. But the Islanders play a good style of hockey for the parts that they have on their team. This year they tied the season series 2-2. As you can see, one of those wins for the Islanders was in overtime. One of the wins for Carolina was in overtime. 1-goal game here in December, and then Carolina beat them by 3 in March. A lot of these games are a while ago, as you can see, only one since the new year, and Carolina dominated it. So it will be interesting to see if these early results that were close, if the Islanders can replicate that, or if they're just going to get steamrolled by the Carolina Hurricanes. Move on. What is Carolina not good at, guys? Top 8 in everything. Best penalty kill. Second best power play in the league. 6 at faceoffs even. 8th in goals for. 4th in goals against. They are a wagon. The Islanders are pretty middle of the pack and everything. Best thing being their faceoff percentage, which isn't a good thing when that's your best thing. 18th in goals against would be the next best thing. The Islanders are not a bad team, guys. They are just not that intimidating of a team to play in the playoffs at this point. And you kind of have to look at management for the Islanders and ask if there's questions of ambition or ability to make moves. Because you look at the lines and who on this Islanders team is going to make an impact who wasn't on this team last year. And you would hope maybe like Noah Dobson takes a step forward, young defender. He's listed as day-to-day. I have a tough time seeing him not play in game one. It would be very shocking. Anders Lee, same thing. Matt Barzal's not listed here. They rested him in the last game because there was not really any need for him to play in a meaningless game. He'll slide in probably on that first line right there, maybe on the second line, depending on how they're running it right now. And it's really just uninspiring to see the Islanders trot out the same team year after year after year. It's boring. It's stale. They play good defensive hockey, but that can only get you so far when you're lacking the talent to take you to the promised land. This is a core of guys that a lot of them went to the conference finals, but that's a while ago now. And the fact that they have not added another dynamic player to this team is just sad. And you look at the Carolina Hurricanes, who are on the opposite side of the spectrum. They're wheeling and dealing. They're trying to get better. They're trying to win a championship. This is what you want out of your team's management, is to be gunning. And they got Jake Gensel at the trade deadline. Very good team, got better. Aho and Jarvis on the line. Jarvis is a good young player. Natchez, Drury, Teravainen, Drury, Natchez, good young players. Marnik, Stahl, Svechnikov. They have Svechnikov on their third line. He came back from injury this year. He's been pretty good. Stahl, their captain. Marnik, solid player. Kotkaniemi, Kuznetsov, and Nason. This team is deeper than a Corey. It's insane. Slavin, Burns, Shea, Pesci, Orlov, Chatfield. They got Tony DeAngelo, who could slide in if they want some offensive upside. But at the end of the day, like, this team is filthy. They play such good hockey, and the fact that I think they've been to one conference finals, and I believe they got swept by the Bruins in 2019. This team, though, like it's a nightmare matchup for anyone to face, because you want to take away one line, that's fine. You take away Aho's line, well, Nature's Teravainen and Svechnikov on the bottom. Like, it's just tough sledding. And this Islanders team is good defensively, and boy, they're gonna have to be. And that goes into talking about goalies. So this is kind of the only leg to stand on if you're an Islanders fan, and that is Ilya Sorokin is a top 5 goalie in the world. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that opinion, he is going to have to be a top 3 goalie in the world, top 1 goalie in the world for the Islanders to win this series. So let's see about that. Even if he is a top 3 in the world goalie, they could still very well lose this series. And he's had a okay year at 909 save percentage. The league leader, just for perspective, was 922 out of full-time starters with, I think it was Hellebuck. He might have been 921. So 909, not bad, not great. You then have his career 919, so you can see he's actually down from his career. That could just be a result of the team play around him, though. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have Frederik Andersen and Pyotr Kochetkov. And both of them have played pretty good. 911 for Kochetkov, 932 for Andersen when he's been able to play. It sounds like Anderson's healthy right now. It's going to be interesting. They could potentially do something that the Bruins might do, and that is split their goalies. Frederik Andersen, when he plays, has been better statistically and is really good. A little shaky playoff history, though. So it will be interesting how they deploy it. But at bare minimum, you're not concerned with either of these options based off how they played throughout the year, in my opinion. And kind of lucky like the Bruins where, well, if Ullmark plays bad, we got Swayman. Well, Frederik Andersen plays bad. You have Pyotr Kochetkov, who played about 40 games on the dot, 911 save percentage. Well, Tess, you got Frederik Andersen, who you know what you're going to get if he's healthy. This team really doesn't have any concerns anywhere about anything, which is why, if we go back to that first slide, they're the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Marginally, but favorites to win the Stanley Cup. And then we go down to stats here just to look. And as you can see, I mentioned they're deeper than our Corey. Look at all these guys over 30 points. 12 over 30. They have 17 over 20. These are the only 10 guys on the Islanders who are over 24. They have 16 on Carolina over 24, to give you an idea. Matt Barr's leading point getter. He's going to have to probably have like a point and a half a game to carry this group of just... They're not even bad players on the Islanders. They just kind of lack offensive upside. Like, Bo Horvat, he's not going to really go off. He's going to have good nights, but he's not going to go off. Brock Nelson, Noah Dobson's going to have to be that almost point-per-game defenseman. Kyle Palmieri's been scorching hot lately. With that being said, we'll go into the last 20, which the other ray of hope for the Islanders is they've been good as of late. Palmieri 21 and 23, Nelson 21 and 23, Horvat 18 23, Barzal 17 22. All these guys are playing good. They're gonna have to play even better. John Gabriel Pajot gonna have to play a little better. Noah Dobson 9 and 20. You're gonna have to turn that around. You're gonna have to be closer to 15 and 20 type of rates. And you look over here. You got 27 and 21 for Aho. Gensel's been good in Carolina, 25 and 17. Jarvis is playing well. Svechnikov on the third line's doing well. Like, it's just going to be tough sledding. I can only say this so much. That's why the video is short. And just to jump on one last thing, I thought, if there's one thing I can look at, it's that the Islanders have been good lately. They're 14-7-2 in 23 games. I was like, that's pretty good. 652 point percentage. And then Carolina's at the top of this statistic too. 16-5-1 in their last 22. 750 point percentage. I believe that's the best point percentage outside of the Stars, who you can see there, was 16-4. Carolina's winning this. I'm gonna say they're gonna down the Islanders in less than 6. I'm gonna say Canes in 5. I have a little too much respect for the defense of the Islanders to say they're going to get swept. They just make games too tight. Bounces are going to go their way. Sorokin's probably going to pop up in one game and look like that goalie that Islanders fans tell you he is. And it's going to be probably 5 games, 6 games max. If they force the Canes to 7, well done, but I'm going to go with Canes in 5. Like I said, if you want to watch my other analysis to see what I think of the playoff series that aren't this one, I have 3 already up with 4 to come. Probably one more tonight, the other 3 tomorrow or Saturday. Subscribe so you can see them get published. Like this video so it gets shown to other people. Leave a comment with your opinions down below. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.